Good example, and welcome back to our podcast, Mindful Journeys Caring for International Students. Today is episode 3 of our season 1. My name is Sonam Penjo, and I'm the host. And with me, I have a co-host, Dr. Sonam Pelden.
Thank you,
Thank
Sonam.
you, and then I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. I would like to welcome all the viewers and listeners as well for joining us again. And I would like to firstly welcome and thank our guest for today, Wongchuk Pida, who is a PhD scholar at Edith County University. She's also a recipient of PhD scholarship, SCR scholarship, and thank you for making this time with us. Before we talk a little bit about your project and its relevance to our show or the podcast, we'd like to invite you to say a bit about where you come from and a bit about yourself.
Kuzuzampala, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining
I'm
us.
Ochubida. Prior to coming here, I was working as a civil servant under the Ministry of Education. And it's been a year and a half that I've started studying at Edith County University. Maybe I'll continue as we continue our conversation.
Mm-hmm. I understand this is I know it is your 1.5 year stay in Perth, Australia, and it has been a complicated journey to start with, and also your research project perhaps grew out of that. Could you share a bit about your PhD research project and the origins of it?
Just to share how I started or how I got interested to what I'm studying right now. Based on my experiences as an international student and as a woman studying here in Australia, I reflected on my experiences because I have my family here, so I play a multiple role. I have to be a student, I have to be a mother, and I have to be a wife as well. So then coming to a new place and then entering into the academic world after like donkey years. So it was very difficult for me, and I reflected on my journey, and I thought of the other Bhutanese women students and thought like, oh, maybe they are going through the same, or it could be worse for them, for few, or for maybe not as much as I was struggling. So that reflection made me study on what I'm studying right now.
Which is?
My study focuses on Bhutanese female students pursuing tertiary education. And like I said, I'm looking at how gender and culture shape the experiences of Bhutanese female students. And mainly I'm looking at the transnational experiences. Because as an international student, we form a group of migrants, and then as a migrant, we undergo different we experience cross-cultural experiences. We undergo different experiences coming from our own country and then trying to settle in a new country. So that's what I'm trying to look at and see how these experiences hold opportunities and challenges for the Bhutanese students, especially the female students.
Before we also move on to another, I just wanted to know, like you said, you play a different roles here, so I just wanted to know before you ask your whoever wants to join your research. So I just want to ask if you could share your experience of being a student and having to look after your children and being, like you said, being wife and something like that. How was your experience after coming from Bhutan? And like you said, you have been coming back to study after the long gap of academic thing.
When it comes to my academic experiences, like I said, it's been quite long that I had completed my master's.
Yes.
And honestly saying, PhD was never in my, I never thought I would go for PhD.
Yes.
But then my children were growing up.
Yes.
And I also, I need to think about their education. And then Australia has a good education system. That's what I was told. That's what my friends have been telling me. So then I thought, okay, for my children, to give them exposure and to give them good education,
Yes.
I thought I will also embark on my own, because I think to come here, there are various means of coming, but for me, my means of coming was only as a student.
Yes.
So I thought, why not pursue? Because then, as a woman, I'm also upgrading my qualification, and then that way I can also help my children with my education. So
Yes.
that's how I decided to come here.
Yes.
But it was not easy. I'm still struggling. And I still don't feel settled here, although I have my husband and my children here,
Yes.
compared to many of them who do not have the children here.
Yes.
And my children are also not very young. They are in teens, so they don't really require that, detailed attention. Yet, I'm very close to them. And then back home in Bhutan also, I ensured that, I took care of everything. I made sure that they had, they could do it. I mean, their school work, after school work, weekend. So I'm very close to them. So I didn't want to miss that part here also. But that's quite difficult. That's what I was telling that it's quite difficult to jump from one to another. I've been fortunate to get the HDR scholarship, and I must thank my supervisor, Dr. Sonam. That has really eased the financial burden on me. That way, I think I've been able to continue my PhD studies. Otherwise, I'm not sure whether I would have continued or gone back. Anyway, I've been very blessed, and I must thank Edith Cowan University as well. So that way, that's why I was saying it's quite difficult to, jump from one to another. And I have my husband. He's very supportive. He's also working very hard. But then he can't help me with my studies, because it's my responsibility. So I have my own share of stress, and he has his own share of stress. So we are trying to balance the two, but still it's very difficult. So I can't imagine what the rest of the female students like me must be going through, especially those who are full fee paying students. So that's why I was telling you, it's very difficult to jump from one to, and here I think one factor I realized is even if I want to give time to my children, the difference in the timing, even if I want to, I'm not able to, because I have my own work, and then they have their own. So it's very difficult, and life is very different here. But then I think with these challenges, I'm sure there must be a lot of opportunities as well.
And that's what it is when you said multiple roles, and you're navigating different roles, and meeting different demands. I'm curious, Bida, when you say, I think again, to go back, you said thank you for the scholarship. I think what gave you this opportunity for scholarship, Bida, I think was the topic that you picked. I think it got everyone's attention because it is a topic that's very important to consider as a policy. Women and their experiences is one, of course, in this society, but transcultural, you coming to another container, so you're negotiating your cultural ways, practices, your identity. You said you were I think you were quite a senior government official, and you're suddenly having to move into the student role. and then you've got a very different neighborhood, your support system's different. So how to be a mother, how to be a woman, how to be a student, and then how to be an employee can be very demanding, I think, complex, because there are many different compounding containers around it. I'm curious, you said something about I still don't feel settled, because to me, that felt that I connected to that, because for a long time I didn't feel settled. But I think what not feeling settled would mean different things to different people. So, for the sake of people who are watching and listening, if you could say a bit about what that means for you and your family.
When I say I still feel unsettled, means because I spent I think half of my life in Bhutan, and suddenly having to shift from Bhutan to a completely new country.
Sure.
Of course, hearing about a country and actually coming to that country and settling is a different story.
Right.
So then, because back home, here, once you're here, you lose your support system. I don't have my family. I just can't walk in somebody else's house. I can't just plant a weekend and go to my see my dad or friends or family, and so those things are not there. So you lose a lot of things. So that's why, and then what you have in your own country, you cannot have it in somebody else's country. So I think it takes time for people to settle, especially I think people of my age maybe they feel the same feeling of that, still feeling unsettled. So I think because of how we are, maybe as a Bhutanese, we are from a collectivist society where you have your families, your friends taken for granted, being there for you anytime. But once you're here, everybody has their own obligation. Everybody has to meet their own obligations. So this makes it quite difficult. So maybe that's why. And then, as a student, especially as a research student, you have to dedicate a lot of time for your study. And then, especially research is, I can't say it's exactly a new thing for me. But coming back after a long gap, it is quite difficult. So that way I'm alone most of the time because I need to focus on my study. So I guess that's why I feel unsettled.
Thank you for sharing your experiences and all. And like we said, I also feel like what we felt true in Bhutan is not true here. So we have to start, from scratch. Everything, making new friends. Even if we have a new friends, it's very difficult. Like Madam said, like time differences. You have your own obligations and all. So coming back to your research, so which stage are you on now?
I've completed my seminar, and currently I'm working on my data collection, particularly focusing on recruitment of participants. So I'm looking for volunteers to participate in my study, and I would like to request the Bhutanese female students studying here, especially those who are pursuing tertiary education, to participate in this study. Because I know they will have a lot of unique experiences that would contribute to my study. I said my, but then at the end the study would contribute to all the Bhutanese here, back home and here. So currently I'm looking for volunteers, and I still need few more. So maybe through your podcast I would
reach out to more.
Yes, reach out more, and then have more Bhutanese participating in the study.
Is there a time frame or?
I don't exactly have like it's from this date to this date, but it would be nice if I could have at the earliest. And I think it's all about sharing your stories, and your stories can be shared to others. People can hear your stories, and then through the stories, people will be better prepared. That way we are helping the future female students, not just Bhutanese. Our experiences can also help other international female students. So that way I feel that everybody
should come forward.
Yes, will come forward. Because everybody has stories to tell.
Correct.
Yeah, that's to add to that. I think you're so right. Straight away, there can be changes at two levels. One is, as Bida you mentioned, in telling our story. First, I think three levels in listening to stories. First, there is a shift in ourselves, a certain sense of awareness. And that's educational. Like when you hear that somebody has taken this journey, been through these experiences, then you sort of have an insight into how that might be for you. It might not be the same for you. At a second level, if you're the speaker, the teller of the story, as we tell a story, as you and I am talking now, we go through changes in our brain as well, ideas like you go, oh, actually I don't feel like that anyway, or oh, actually that's another question I haven't thought about. So there's learning even in telling a story, and then ideally in all these conversations there are strategies and ideas born to respond to some of the problems. They've done almost, I think you've committed more than a year of your life in this academic field. And I remember you had somewhere in your previous questions and project around mental health. Wherever you are in your journey right now as a PhD student, can you recollect anything around concerns of mental health, or what does the literature say about what's happening for others in the similar boat like yourself? What does the literature have to say about mental health of these students, their struggles, if you can remember any?
I think mental health is quite important to share my personal experience as well as part of the study. It's been very difficult, like I said, and then and I even had I think because of the challenges that you face while navigating through basically everything in a new country, we go through a lot, and I'm sure everybody goes through a lot. So that's where I think we need to reach out to somebody else. For me, I had my, like I said, supportive family. Then I had my friends to reach out to. I even had to book an appointment with the counseling in the university. So that way, because even in the research it says that everybody goes through a severe, mental thing, because then you're trying to, especially as a woman, I think that you're trying to play that, trying to bring a balance of all the roles as a student, as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, and then between these two, if we do not take control of ourselves or do not take care of ourselves, then we don't know where we might end up to, because there has been some studies where even students committing suicides because they have not been able to handle these difficulties. And here also, when I say reaching out to friends, it's quite difficult. Because like I said, everybody has their own responsibilities. So, the best is you handle yourself. For me, I've even started yoga. I always wanted to do yoga, but I never tried. But since few months, I thought maybe this would really help me. So I've started this journey. So it's been like 3 months. At least it has improved my focus, and then whenever I'm stressed out, I try to breathe. So likewise, I think
so you're being mindful.
Yeah, because if we don't take care of ourselves, it's not that your friends and family do not want to take care of you. They have their own, and then even if they want to reach out to you, it's very difficult for them.
True.
Like I'm not able to. I have 3 of my brothers here, but I hardly get to see them because I'm busy, they are busy. So everybody seems to be in the same situation. So what I'm trying to say is, as an international student, be it a male or female, everybody goes through the same challenges. Maybe the way we handle is different, but it's very important that we take care of ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then I think it will be very difficult factors outside you to take care of you. So, so that way, just to get back to my study, I feel that through these studies, we will be able to come up with, through the stories of different Bhutanese women students, I feel that these stories will help us to come up with some possible solutions to help other Bhutanese students who would be coming to Australia or going to other countries for studies.
Yes.
So we are hoping that this study will help
That's
and
definitely
contribute significantly.
It's true. I'm reflecting with you, Bida, and I hope I'm reflecting on behalf of the listeners and viewers as well. I think you mentioned 3 themes that actually is quite prevalent in the literature as well. One is around control. You're trying so hard to balance these different roles and demands that whatever sense of control you were familiar with before is nowhere here.
Yes.
So you do feel like, that anxiety, and then you panic sometimes when there is excess of that. Sometimes it's very hard to arrive at that point of, okay, I need to take care of myself. You know it, but you're not able to do
Yes,
it.
true.
Because much of all of what you know or what you can see is out of your control. So it's like you're saying, it's my studies, my husband, my family can't do anything, only I can walk and do that. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to this journey. Sometimes you need to walk through that pain and then figure out how to build support. Like you're saying, you've started to do yoga, you're feeling the differences. These are perhaps some of the support systems, some of the strategies that we start employing then to grow in this new space and place.
Yes,
and then they rebuild. Yeah.
And I'm a spiritual person, but
Yes.
I'm not that hardcore person who prays, like, But after coming here, I've started to religiously do that because it helps me. So I find that space quite safe for me while I'm in that. So I think that way, I think it's helping me. And likewise, I think so that's why I was saying through this study, and hearing stories from our Bhutanese female students, we are hoping that this study will significantly contribute. So that's how, because of my experience, and that's how interested me to embark on this study.
Yes, thank you so much. Before we continue, we'll just take a few minutes commercial break, and we'll come back after a commercial break. Stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back after a short break. Thank you for staying on, and thank you so much for sharing your stories, and also about your research that you're currently doing at ECU. And it's really going to be beneficial for not only, like you said, not only for Bhutanese students who are going abroad to study, but also to other international students who are facing the similar shift and everything like that. See, the madam was mentioning about you have been you had a what do you call appointment with your counselor. So I was just wondering, how did you feel like when you any kachimada nga afinalu jogo benga sachi konda chika chego se kadebe nagi tu some jiri be because it's very difficult for someone to open up, and it's important for people to know that's their limit, and then they should seek help if needed. So anibadol nagi experience nalebiojin karibe, how did you approach your counselor in this case? Muna?
I think maybe after I was here for like 6-7 months they chikala. So like I said in the beginning, having to find a house. When I came, I had my brother as my host, but his house was too small. So his owner started to pressurize him, saying that if we don't leave, then he would give eviction notice to my brother and his family, which I didn't want. So that's the stress, finding accommodation, then having to arrange school for your children. Of course, the university and Department of Education, they facilitate. Then having to think on what to study, about my proposal, and then entering into the academic world, having to read. So I think all this personal and academic, it added together. So then I must have broken down few times in front of Dr. Sonam as well. So Dr. Sonam also suggested, then I also thought maybe I should go and see once. Because I've never been to a counselor, so I was also quite curious, and I thought maybe talking to them, seeing them would at least help me set up. That's how I made an appointment. They were at ECU, so Pajuj and the counseling first of all, they need to do this triage. So I did that, and then appointment teaching set up. Then after that, I thought maybe I could handle it myself. Session log with the module attempt thing I be. After that, let me try and so like I said, tinta, yoga this would say, charo the circle, then research ki charo yuval, Honajiga discuss pay, but Talani his answer so anyway. But still, that like I said, beginning the jump to struggle, that they are they would at least balance penny, shibble. But the tetirity jogono when a tachi, catch love his answer won't say no. So I feel there's nothing wrong in seeing going to a counseling or a counselor, because I think when you talk to somebody, I think you basically let out your emotions or your feelings, frustrations, and then that will eventually help you in the matter. So, anyway,
thank you so much.
I want to add something as well. I think it's true when you go to universities, they triage so that they can see who's best suited to the student and the available counselor as well. But I think for all of us, it's important that if we are seeking a mental health service, or particularly a counselor or a psychologist, then to discern for ourselves whether is this person a good match for me, because quite often, very often we can be fortunate that we do find somebody who's a good match for us. There might be times where you don't seem to connect with the person who's on the other end. Yes, it takes a couple of sessions, 1 to 2 sometimes, to connect with someone new, as is the case. But what I'm saying is, just because you didn't have a good first off experience doesn't mean that's the nature of the service. It's important for us to find the right person there. It can feel quite educational and liberating in ourselves if we are able to find someone who can really understand and value all our deepest, darkest thoughts and walk through with us. That's
Thank you so much. I think it's very important, because you said your kids are now teenagers, and this is a time where they decide, or they are going lots of things as a adolescent, so I just wanted to know, like, how difficult or easier for you to help them shift from Bhutan to the life of here. Did you prepare them before you come here, or some sort of briefings, or any kind of preparation for them to to experience this new life?
I don't think I did any preparation. They were aware that I was applying for this,
Yes.
but then everything happened so fast. It comes quite quick. Do the documentation, then the visa comes, and you don't really have much time because then
Yes.
you have to report to the university. But when it comes to my elder one, and when it came to my elder one, he completed his 12 in Bhutan.
Yes.
So after coming here, so he was 17. I couldn't enroll him in a degree course because he had to be 18.
Yes.
So with him, I helped a lot in the sense that we took almost 3 to 4 months to decide which course to study. And then, but with the younger one, he is in year 11.
Yes.
With him, I think I cannot, I think, do as I want him to do, because then after studying here for more than a year, I mean, as a young, when he was quite young, he had his own thinking, his own thought. He didn't really like when I decided for him, so. And now it's not even, it's even more difficult.
Yes.
He has his own justification, he has his own reasons, he has his own area of interest, so. And then here, coming here, it's a little different. We really can't have control. Even if you want to, I think it's not easy to actually, get into their head and say, okay, this is what is good for you. It doesn't work here.
No.
So that way it's quite difficult to handle with him. So I let him decide now, because I think eventually I need to accept as a parent that this is things won't work as it used to work in Bhutan. So slowly I'm accepting it, and then it's not easy to, I mean, especially handling teens is not easy, whether it's in Bhutan or it's here.
Right.
But then here with the new school, new environment, the teaching, the way things are taught is completely different. They learn things from, they are in a diverse community, so that way it's not, it's different. Parenting is different here. So I cannot imagine those who have very young children, who have just started to develop their own thoughts. So I don't know how they are able to maintain, what should be opportunities and how it is to be here. So I think parenting is also one of the challenges that as a woman and as a mother face. That's also one thing that I'll be looking in my study as well. Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
You have just shared your experiences, and I think you have had your own share of challenges.
True.
Does it sound right?
No. That's totally. Ani Rana segi notangle jodongla. Tebedolu. For me, I feel like it is not. So ngachigi jomi di kon lo shemi tingda di madam also doing that one through your research mula. So ani bedolu tingda di ongo mi hemi di suidan lengachi lam dejum besse javachin. That's the main reason we are doing this podcast as well. And last time I was also doing a radio host.
Yes.
Ani Naya, we were doing all those stories from Putnis coming here, the Kongi stories is shared by. So Ani Nalu, this Jotumi, this Jotu mese, Tele Jomatumi, this Jomutevese. So Ani the mindset, I think we have to make it in such a way that people feel safe to come here.
Yes.
The ngachi anizumbe feel be chinga begola. That's kind of selfish type of China. So the main intention for our podcast is to also make aware what's going on here. Now have the look at the way changes shift to the look environment the neighborhood is to change to the look kachi zumra ngachi chobina. The anigi through that one ngachi mental look at the way affect homina. Plus how we should be mindful while you're away from home. That's the reason we started this one as well.
Okay.
How was it for you when you heard that, Vida? Sounds like you heard it.
Yeah. I felt that through the lessons of the challenges, things should be better for us.
Yes, yes.
When I shared my share of my challenges and struggle, they were like, not all, few, I think they didn't mean it, but I think it just came out. They
Yes.
were like, it's all right. Maybe they were trying to console me,
Yes, yes.
but it's all right. We also had to struggle a lot. So you have just started, so you know, things will still be difficult. So that if you look at positively, it could be like, you know, that you struggle not right now, but later it will be okay for you. Or it could be like, we struggle, you should also struggle. So I think it's the way you look at the things.
There are multiple perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah. The way somebody put it in a way that I really liked listening to, and that somebody said, "Oh, so you know, when you're starting to meditate, it's a big struggle, that journey." But both of the you know, it's a different stage. So taking your journey, you know, and settling into a new place in that way, and then you see both of you see somebody relaxing a little. You know. I thought that was a interesting framework to understand.
Yes. So Chidi, I always used to whenever I go live, sometimes I go live on TikTok and all that. So anytime I always tell people that if they are planning to come or go to any other countries, you know, for studies or for work, whatever you are trying to do, I always ask them to, you know, do some research.
Yeah, true.
To the place, you know, the place where you are visiting, learn about their culture, what's happening. So Maggie, the easiest thing that I had was I did got a bit of research myself before coming here, and I was fully prepared. So I came here. Mostly, I don't know, others I came here at least to survive for 6 months. Job I'll be survive. I prepared everything. Then also my second semester fees, it was all ready. So you have a peace of mind when you get here. So Chelu and Zumbe research my way, the backup plan this to me, then you get started getting more anxiety, more think baby the job and fees pay. Those kind of things if you are prepared, then then you are able to focus on what you are here to do. So study and also find a nice job. So it was fortunate for me that as soon as I get here in second week I got the job. So I didn't have to expense that one as well. So it's always better to, you know, plan things, do some research and come.
Yeah, nowadays we have information all over.
Yes,
YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. So it's always good to do research, otherwise if you come unprepared. Of course, many say that you have to be mentally prepared when you come or when you move out of your country. But I think being mentally prepared and actually experiencing is another different story. So even if you're mentally prepared, even if you have done your research well, when you actually come here, especially with your family. So although my children were very not young, like 5, 6, they were 15 and 17, but still it was difficult because I think at every stage with children there's different level of parenting. So yeah, but research, it does help. At least you are aware of what's there, you get information, and then after you get information from different sources, we can make informed decision. So these days, yes, through the social media, I think people are better prepared.
I think social media has its own disadvantages and advantages.
Yes, true.
So how to sift through and critically pick what you want, I think that's also quite important. I'm tempted to ask at this stage, and Sonam as well. What is it that you miss most about Bhutan right now, in this moment?
For me, I miss everything. Past few days, I've been seeing dreams being in Bhutan. So I miss my parents, my dad, my friends, my family. I don't have any of my girlfriends or best friends here. All of them are in Bhutan. And I have friends here, but then somebody close friends, like best friends for girls or women. I don't have them here. I think I miss everything about Bhutan. That's why I was sharing earlier that I still don't feel settled. Let's see how it goes.
I think for me it's like time. I really miss that. The thing that at Bhutan, I feel like the time is going really slow, but here it's going at the
yes, true.
Two times or maybe 3 times. So I feel like I'm aging too quickly in here. But Bhutan, you are always there, lay back, So you have time to do everything, whatever you like to. But Nalu, even the family gathering here is very difficult. So those kind of social family that you time da chinida and this to that's and of course involvement, of course we really miss that one. But most importantly family that you gathering baby mom and it's very less here.
I think as a Bhutanese, we are very strong in that social support. I think we are very dependent on it.
Yes.
So coming here, we lose that. So I guess that's why listening to Sonam and my own experiences, I feel that that's what we miss the most.
Yes. Even after 10 years of being here, I still miss that one. Anytime I would go back, but there are things that we have to
there are circumstances.
Yes,
true.
Those are the things. What about you, Doctor?
I'm sure there might be things that you don't miss as well. I'm thinking which is the reason we come here. Oh, of course, my mother. I miss my mother, and families that I don't get to see. True. But and I think slightly in contrast to what you both say, I've always been wanting to run away from this very strong social obligations in Bhutan. Always wanting to run away because I found that quite suffocating for me. It's because it was like you have to work, and you have your own family, but there is this endless social obligations. And here in Australia, there are systems in place to do those, to help you do things. But in Bhutan, everything is based on connections. You don't know people, you can't even get an appointment for a doctor, let's say. So for me, that became too suffocating. So I'm enjoying not being part of that. So
true.
So that's me. But what I do miss is, I think there's a very specific, unique presence as soon as you step on the land, like physically step. And I never fail to take a deep breath when the airplane door opens. I still miss that. I still cry a little when the flight lands and when I go out. So for me, that's what is so important. I miss that. So what I miss changed, I think, over the years I've been here. So for now, that's what I miss. Okay,
before we go to another segment, we'll just take a few minutes break, a commercial break, and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our podcast, and thank you for sticking with us. And coming back to our podcast, if I may go back to your research thing, so you said you are in a process of recruiting volunteers for your research. So Aninalu Chegi, how much you are looking at having Mam Yevachin Lejumo, you might have certain set number of volunteers to come forward. So I need number chisuna much and then how much you have been able to get so far and all.
And maybe what they would be doing, being involved as participants. Yeah.
I'm looking around like 30.
Yes.
So out of 30, again, I will be selecting because I have certain selection criteria. Of course, in general, Bhutanese women pursuing tertiary education, but I'll be looking at Bhutanese women who are married and have children here in Western Australia, like me. And I'll also be looking at women who are married but who have their children back home because of some reasons they have not been able to bring their children here. Then I'll be also looking at single women and also married women without children.
Nice.
So I'll be looking at 4 different
categories.
Yes.
Nice.
And I'll be the volunteers will have one-to-one interview, and after the interview, then I'll be doing focus group discussion.
Nice.
So number-wise, I'm looking around like 30, and then I will again use some methods and then make it to 20. So in total, I'll be conducting 20 interviews.
Nice.
And my interview will not be like structured like 10 questions and 10 answers. It won't be like that. I will have some guiding questions, but then it will be like a conversation because I would like to hear the stories, and the stories would build my study. And then after the interview, then I'll be conducting focus group discussion with the same group of women. So that's what I'll be doing.
Nice.
Oh. No, I was just taking in. Yes. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about your project to potential viewers and listeners or potential participants at this stage? Anything that you think is important and we haven't asked about?
I've shared my poster, basically informing about my.
You've got a copy on your.
Informing about the study, and also I've shared my QR code so that they could register. So my request to the Bhutanese female students here in Western Australia, I'm not looking at whole of Australia, I'll be focusing only in Western Australia, to come forward and share your stories, because their stories will help the future female students. So I look forward to talking to them, engaging with them, and my study would provide them platform to basically empowering them to share their stories, so that they feel relaxed, and through their stories it can help so many others. So that's why I look forward to talking to them, and my request as of now is to please participate and join in.
I have seen that you have shared in our ABPI's page as well, so I think maybe most of the Bhutanese might have already seen it, and they might be just unable to decide whether they should participate or not. But after seeing this podcast, they might be, because it's for the good cause. It will be helping lots of international students who are planning to come here. So I hope they will get in contact with you soon, and we will also share your details through our media and all.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to add as well, just because I think Bida's project is specific to women and their experiences, I think the origin of that really is from Bida's own lived experience of being a mother, you know, a civil servant at one point, now a student, all of that. The emergence of this project doesn't mean that the parallel, similar experiences of male and either gender or sexuality one identifies with is minimized or is rendered invisible. I think everyone have their own set of experiences, but because of the scope of the project and also Bida's interest in experiences, this topic is specific to women.
Yes. Okay, with that one, I think we come to our end of our podcast for today, and like we have informed earlier, this podcast is not scripted and it's just an opinion, just a personal opinion. We are sharing our experiences and all, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and also please do share. And before we wind up, I would like to request Madam Bida to say something to the international students who are going through all those changes and all.
Thank you for having me here once again. To all the international students out there, you're not alone, and my focus right now is to request all the Bhutanese women to join me for my study, so that we contribute significantly to the future students. Thank you.
Doctor, if you have last word.
Just to add, join the conversation. I mean, reach out, talk. I think most importantly, Sonam and Vida, you talked about the run from job to job, work, life, sleep, trying to recover, sleep. Some very often not having enough sleep, running, and reflecting or trying to even think about help can seem like a luxury. But despite all of that, I hope you could still reach out, take moments of rest, take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for the next episode, we will be having Bhutanese international student who is currently living here with their family. So to continue with your research thing, so she might also be able to join your volunteer for your interview and all. So we would like to thank you so much for joining us, taking your time off. Like you said, you are trying to be many different roles, and we would like to also wish you all the best with your study, and hope this one will come out well, and then help lots of international women who are coming to different countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.